We're teaching you tools that you can use as you walk through your day in a more conscious, peaceful way. The breath takes time, and it's super important for your state of mind.
One of the things that you learn as a clinician, if you're paying attention, is most people breathe very thoracically, meaning they breathe shallow. From the throat, basically into the upper lung. The way we can modulate our emotions is by being basically half dead. The breathing allows the emotions that have been repressed to come up. If you put your attention out of the mind, relaxation is a byproduct of where our attention is. We're talking a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And if you enter this arena slowly, it won't be overwhelming.
It's a gift to yourself. Becoming friends with your breath is like the biggest gift you can give yourself. Hello and welcome to the Tools of Awakening classes. My name is Pernilla Burke, and I am the founder and creator of a website called Awakening 101 and the podcast Awakening Process 101. I'm here with my friend Abdi Assadi. He is an acupuncturist and a healer and a spiritual counselor. And these classes are intended to be bite-sized, simple, that you can use in your everyday life. We are not teaching advanced meditation here. We're teaching you tools that you can use to increase your awareness, create a moment of pause as you walk through your day in a more conscious, peaceful way. This is also so that you can live a life not driven by instinct and emotions. Classes are structured to be short and simple so you can use them on the go. And today it's class number 2. So we're going to continue talking about the breath because Abdi and I feel like it's not enough with just one class. The breath takes time, and it's super important for your state of mind to really get to a place where you can get in tune with it and work with it and actually access it. For me, it took a long time to step into that as a tool that I could get to really quickly. I use it now, but it took a really long time. So I was thinking about asking you, Abdi, actually. So when you said that this is one of the first practices that you used 40 years ago or became familiar with, like what was some of the first techniques or how did you start with it?
So one of the things I became aware of very early on is that I don't breathe at all, or I didn't used to breathe. So one of the things that you learn as a clinician, if you're paying attention, is most people breathe very thoracically, meaning they breathe shallow.
From
the throat, basically into the upper lung. And the way the lungs are designed, the biggest surface area, the biggest volume is in the lower part, which is why what we call belly breathing is actually your lungs filling in the lower lobes. But because of incessant anxiety, we stop breathing at a young age. Or more properly said, we breathe very shallowly because the way we can modulate our emotions is by being basically half dead. You don't breathe 4 minutes, you die. And it's one of the most important things that none of us actually do correctly. So the shallow breathing modulates the emotions. So we repress our feelings by basically breathing, right? If you
we
make
stop.
that,
Like we stop that. Yeah.
Right. So there's all this wasted space in the lower belly. So like we talked about last time, the way most of us breathe is half a pint of oxygen. When you breathe abdominally, when you fill your lower, it's not really your belly, right? You fill your lower lobes of your lung, which pushes your belly out. So when we say belly breathing, it's a misnomer. It's actually filling the lower lobes. You're actually taking in half a gallon of oxygen. So the breath thing is really important because it actually gets you to drop into your body. And also the breathing allows the emotions that have been repressed to come up, which is also why unconsciously we don't breathe. So that's why the breathing thing is so important.
Yeah. I think about even when you're a kid, you stop breathing, right? I mean, it starts early.
Depending on the level of trauma in the family structure, it can start very early. So if anyone's been around a newborn or someone a couple of months old, they have these soft little Buddha bellies. The belly's sweet and soft, goes up and down. But at a very young age, it can be 2 years of age, 3. You can see the belly starts not moving as much and the breathing. It gets rigid, and then the shallowness of the breath in the chest. So that's a trauma response. It's how we deal with anxiety, right? If I scare you, what happens? You go up, and then you stop there. So if we say to people, again, try to relax, that's an oxymoron. You can't try to relax.
No one knows what that means.
Because it doesn't work. It's actually a misnomer. So if we get ourselves to change our breathing pattern, relaxation is a byproduct. Now, the reason you just correctly said that this is bite-sized classes and has to be sort of deepened is because unconsciously we don't want to breathe. We want to hold the emotions at bay. It has to be a gentle process so it doesn't overwhelm the body mind.
We're going to do a practice. We're going to try to come back to one simple practice over and over again in these classes so that we're trying to drill them into your mind. But our intention is for you to become so familiar with it that you actually do use it in your day. So please close your eyes and immediately focus on the breath by the entrance of your nostrils. One way that we become immediately present is just by focusing on the feeling of the breath as it enters and exits the nose. And you can already ask yourself, where are my thoughts now? And you will notice that it's quieter. So riding the breath as it enters, the coolness of it, and riding the breath as it exits your nostril. Just this 30 seconds or a minute that we spend here is a practice you can use throughout the day. To change your state of mind. Bring your awareness back to the tip of the nose. And you can slowly open your eyes. And I guess I want to say that having this as a practice and maybe setting aside, like we said last week, 3 minutes each day to practice this is a way to build a foundation to using it in a like sort of emergency situation when you're actually stressing. So you build it through having a practice when you're not, something stressful isn't happening. And it's as simple as starting with just doing the awareness on the breath in and out like 10 times. That's all you need. And combining with the questions, where are my thoughts now? Just sort of becoming aware of your state of mind before, during, and after this simple practice. You notice that shift right away. I mean, it does for me, and Hope it did for you, Abdi.
So it's very immediate. And I also feel you can ask that question. The question can be asked or even answered if you're actually fully paying attention to the nostrils and the air and the quality of the air going in and out, right? So it's what you're discussing is more sort of symbolic of where are my thoughts, because the thoughts and the act of breathing, they don't coexist truly. So there's just a level of awareness, and it's immediate. I mean, the body mind relaxes immediately. And this is the thing that we were talking about earlier. Relaxation is a byproduct of attention. You don't try to relax, but if you put your attention out of the mind, which is anti-relaxation, it's being mobilized. Relaxation is a byproduct of where our attention is. And that's the sort of deceptive simplicity of this technique.
Yeah, and I mean, it comes back to like the how do I do it? So when someone says, relax, what do you mean? Like, how do I relax?
Absolutely.
So instead, it's like, focus on your breath coming in and out of your nose is the like the first part of the equation, right?
Yes.
And then that leads to relaxation.
Perfect.
So I always think about like when people give me instructions, they always say the thing that is the result instead of saying the how.
Well said. So the how is here. Put your attention, take it out of the head, take it out of incessant thinking. It never stops. You give it this brief pause. And again, as Pernilla says, we're talking minutes here. We're talking a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And if you enter this arena slowly, it won't be overwhelming. The anxiety won't be overwhelming. The grief won't be overwhelming. Because again, we repress emotions by not breathing. So one of the reasons people don't sit, one of the reasons we don't find time, unconsciously we have to tolerate this initial discomfort of emotions we've repressed for a long time.
Yeah, I think that, and we'll talk about this as we go along, but like when I started meditating, I literally did only a minute.
It's really important not to overwhelm it, because your nervous system will get overwhelmed. Yeah.
And at that time when I was like in early recovery and sad and depressed all the time and everything was chaos, that minute still was a game changer. So I just think about like all I did then was set the alarm for 1 minute, and I had no technique, no practice, nothing. I just sat there. And so it's the same thing here. Like and it was not painful and uncomfortable. I could handle it even though I was a complete emotional mess. So there's hope here is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's an appointment with yourself, right? What we're talking about here is not just relaxation, hey, just breathing. Those are all things. It's great for your health, yes, but it's actually an appointment with yourself, the stranger that you call yourself. We're running away from ourselves all day long. So another way to reframe this is a beautiful thing to sit with this wonderful person, which is you, and get to know her, get to know him. Yeah. And it's just to quietly sit with him or her.
Yeah, and that's another thing that came up when I was thinking about this last night. It's a gift to yourself.
Beautiful.
So you say it's an appointment with yourself. It's like, this is a gift to yourself. Just the same as we take care of other parts of ourselves. Becoming friends with your breath is like the biggest gift you can give yourself. And I believe that if you're sitting here listening to this, you're ready to try it. And you're ready to be friends with yourself and your breath, because it's a doorway. It's like a door to the opening of your inner self, and it begins with the breath.
Beautiful.
So
it's also washing your brain, as a Zen teacher said. A Zen teacher used to say, wash your brain. This is washing your brain. So we can keep throwing analogies at it all day long, but it's all these things are true, and they're really
all of it. Yeah. So now we're gonna move on and introduce an added element to the breath practice, and Abdi is going to lead this one.
The work here is to soften your belly, and as you do the nostril breathing, which we'll start in a minute, to actually focus on your breath coming and filling in your lower lobes of your lungs, which was going to make your belly go in and out. And remember that most of us hold tension in our belly. In this culture, it looks attractive if you suck it in. So no one's watching you. This is just you. So you can let the belly go right now. So relax your belly. Feel how you are holding it. And pretty much everyone holds it. And now we close our eyes. And as you breathe in, the attention comes to the nostrils. Breath goes in, fills the lower lobes, which is your belly. And as you breathe out, the attention comes back to the tip of the nostrils. You breathe in, feel the air passing through the nostrils. It fills the lower lobes of the lung, pushing the belly out. And you breathe out. Attention goes back to the tip of the nostrils. And just continue. Breath in, nostril attention. Abdomen out, abdominal attention. And breathe out. Let's do that for 5 more rounds. And gently open your eyes.
You know, I was thinking it like when I was doing the abdominal breathing, it's almost like if I put my attention on the lower part of my ribs somehow, it's almost like, it's not like your belly goes forward. It's almost like it expands like this.
That's exactly it. That's why belly breathing is a misnomer. It's exactly as you say.
Yeah.
Because the lower lobes of the lung terminate in that area, and it actually lifts those floating ribs. So that's actually correct. So you're very in tune with your body. So, we're so disconnected. We use this language, belly breathing, but your digestion is not connected to your lungs, obviously, but it is exactly as you say.
No.
So so I would also say to people, play around. Like, that's a really wonderful pointer that you figured out. Listen to your body and just feel what it's telling you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all the time we have, because we want to keep it enough short time so that you don't feel overwhelmed. And we're going to post these classes in its entirety, but we will also cut out the segments that have the short breathing exercises, so that you can just go straight to those and use them as your guide. I mean, for me at the beginning, I really needed somebody to listen to guide me, because left to my own devices, it was not a good thing. So that these 2 practices from this class will be in their own individual recording, and 2 or 3 minutes each, so that you can have that to access.
Wonderful.
And again, we will continue with class number 3 next week. And we thank you so much for listening. I am Pernilla Burke, and I'm here with my friend Abdi Assadi. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Thank you.